Okay, all YouTubers, by the end of this video you will be attempting to make this video viral. Trust me, you will. Over the past couple of months I've been researching things like the sun so-calledly blinking out, i.e. as you can see in these vids, you can just see little things every now and then. These are genuine NASA images from these are the SOTO cameras, and basically I found something passing across in front of the screen. They did get half moons and different things like that, this type of images, stating the sun was actually still there, but it was a correlation of images over it. But then I found these ones. When I enhanced them, I found that something had actually passed in front of the sun, and yeah, so basically it was to debunk other videos. But now I'm actually beginning to wonder what's actually going on with our sun, because not just these videos, but I still believe that something did pass in front of the stereo camera to cause these images to happen in this way. But what you're going to see after these images may actually also be another explanation for what actually happened and why these actually happened in this way. There could be something wrong with our sun, and I truly mean this, folks. For in the videos you're about to, in the pictures you're about to start seeing after these SOTO images, you will actually start to most probably come to a similar conclusion as what I have. Basically, here you'll see the last of the SOTO images. In the blues, where it was visible that something actually did pass in front of the sun, and yeah, and that's what our sun is supposed to look like. But as you can see in these images, these are actual stereo ahead images, and there is something going on, and there truly is something going on. You can still see that the sun is supposed to be actually working there, but you can't actually see it. Now notice that outside line. That is actually where the sun is actually really, and I mean that. The sun was actually all the way out there. In other words, the sun expanded. And now, over the last couple of months, you've been seeing different images. Most probably those researchers have been seeing this, a white patch over the thing. Before I thought it was a craft passing in front of the sun. Notice that little edge of the star. Now that is where our star is. Look at it. Our star is expanding, or another star is crossing in front of the SOTO camera. Now, I personally believe our star is expanding, getting ready to drop what I call a coronal mass dump. Now, as you can see by these images, and it was actually when I was on the SOHO camera this morning that I found these images on the SOHO, and SOHO have actually tried to cover them up, and you can actually see the sun expanded out in that image. So basically I jumped back and I went back to the, as you can see, that's a SOHO image, but then I jumped back to the stereo. Now when I was on the stereo, I looked at H1 and I found this image. Now this is to the side of our sun. Now you can see what at the side, left-hand side, you'll see what is a coronal mass dump. You'll see it in greater detail, but then you see that. Now, that looks to be behind everything. Now, that larger star with the line going through it is a star. Now, see that image at the bottom, those dumps there? I call those coronal mass dumps. I believe that is what has happened to our sun, because we have moved. Now, I believe that these images explain what our sun looks like. That's a coronal mass around the sun, a star. To give you an example what our star is, that's a coronal mass being dumped. Now, and all stars do it when they are about to move. Now, watch these videos. You can see the coronal mass dump there. Now, notice that star that's in the center there. That is actually a star, by the way. That is not Jupiter like they have said. You'll see why at the end of this small video. This is going quite slow. You can see that it started on the 17th, and actually started before the 17th. About round about the period of time when the earthquake hit Japan, this star was coming in to our thing, and we dumped a coronal mass. And I mean, we dumped the coronal mass, because you can see it there. That's the coronal mass that you can see moving there. But that is a star in the centre. You'll see that at the very end. As I said, I believe it is that star working in conjunction with ours, and we are currently moving through the universe at the moment. And we are still moving because we have had a burst. Now, this generally happens at the time that a star puts a burst out. The coronal mass is dumped. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you will see this where I talk about these coronal masses and the moving stars. Now, you'll notice the stars in the background as well. Please notice them. They are not planets. They are actually stars, by the way. They are actually, the ones in the background are actually moving towards our sun. Now, this is not a planet. Look at the speed this thing is moving over the period of a day. This is not a planet. This is a star, and it truly is a star. You can tell by the peaks coming out of it as well. Now, in my other videos, where I thought it was a craft, it appeared to look like a craft. It may still have been a larger craft that went through at the same time, because there is a hell of a lot of UFO activity around this period of time as well. Now, that white line is what is commonly called a sundog, and everybody is told that it is an optical illusion. It is not an optical illusion. Our suns project them when they move, and our star is currently projecting them at the moment. Now, notice how far this star is moving. Now, a planet wouldn't move this far, and this is coming towards the stereo camera as the coronal mass is getting away. Notice that burst that just happened then. That was a burst from our star. Notice the other star that's coming into the foreground as well. And notice how fast these stars are moving. Now, this is over a period of one day. One day, folks. And the back one, you can't, it's not doing a solar ejection where... Now, notice that this is what really got me now. I do not know whether this is a star crossing our path. I believe it is, right? Because there's no coronal mass there. There's no second coronal mass. So that was a star that just crossed the path of the camera. A star close to our camera just passed right, and I believe it was that star that has caused the earthquake, in conjunction with this one that's coming towards us. And this one that's coming towards the camera is basically, as it's coming through, you'll see in a moment where it starts to project its own coronal mass, i.e. that one that's disappearing off the screen. Now, you can make your mind up whether that was a star or whether that was a secondary coronal mass that we've just dumped as we're moving. But, so notice how that star there now, look at it now, it's projecting its own coronal mass away from it, and it's a flare. So a flare means, now Jupiter doesn't put out flares, Pluto doesn't put out flares. This is a star. This is not a planet. That is a star that is fairly close to our star. So hence, this is what is causing the earthquakes. Our planet is being pulled apart by other stars going through and past us. We are either moving with them, or moving in conjunction with them, or moving away from them. But our stars do move. There's plenty of evidence in all my videos to show you, and there's going to be further stuff within other videos. Now, I put out a preview. This wasn't actually meant to be in the preview, because I only found these this morning. Now, you can see how that other star, its coronal mass is forming. Now, at the same period of time, notice the UFO activity around the same period of time as that coronal mass and that star that just went past us. It's massive. and basically these are either looking at our star, or they've actually come to check out what's going on with our star, or they've come to check out what is to do, or they're from a planet that revolves around that star. Now, basically, and they're just checking us out while they're here. And they're current. Look at the date, folks. This is not even a week ago, these UFOs, and they're multiple UFOs. Now, there is quite a large number of them, and I mean there's quite a large number of them. I have left the images there so that you can actually see them. I've left them up for a period of time because I want you to see the type of UFO activity that happened around the same period of time as that star going past us. So in other words, I'd say there's life on that star, and they know they travel with that star, and they have popped over to check us out while they're travelling with their star. And I can tell you now, you're being lied to every day of your life by our governments, folks. There's either one of two conclusions: that they were stars passing us, because those masses in ejections at the beginning of the thing, I do believe, was our sun preparing to drop a coronal mass. Now, if they weren't, that puts up secondary problem number two. It means our star's expanding. Now, when a star starts to expand, it means it's on the end of its lifespan. And it could be dangerous. This could be what 2012 was all about. So that's what I mean. You might need to make this video viral because there's something going on, and it's happening right now as we speak, and it's massive. Now look at the amount of the UFOs in this video, folks, and they've all got to do with the images that you'll see at the very, very end of the of this video. There will be a second narration just to the last few minutes of this video, because I'm going to put up those expanding stars and that last image in regard to the H1, and I'll do a little animation with it so you can see the correlation, that 1 minute you're seeing it as an expansion with one camera, but then you see it from the H1 where it's looking at the side, which is 5 minutes later, and it's to the side. So it could be our star, it could be a star passing our star, and it has just managed to go past the stereo camera. But I believe these stars and everything happen on a regular basis, but the fact that our star is expanding does put a bit of worry in me. So it's up to you folks to make your own decision and make an informed decision from the information. Just take the dates from all these videos and go and have a look at these images yourself, and please make a very, very informed decision about what's going on, because there's got to be some kind of correlation between the fact that there is a secondary star very close to us and a huge amount of UFO activity around that's been caught on the Core 1. And there was some caught on the Core 2, but I didn't have time to put both of them up because the video would go most probably for an hour if I did. So you're not actually seeing all the UFO activity that has actually happened as well. So, and as you can see here, there's going back to these images again. Now, basically, this I believe is a planet expansion just before a core dump, to where the hydrogen gases are expanded out to the maximum just prior to the dump. Now, basically, these were spotted by one of my subscribers and brought them to my attention. That's when I started looking for the other images. And basically, it has actually shocked me a little bit, but when I found the images, i.e. on Soho this morning, like this one where Soho has actually tried to cover it over using pixelation, but you still can make out that there's actually a planet behind it, or a star. Again, with that one, you can still quite easily see that there is a star behind it. Now, these were the ones that I found that alarmed me this morning when I was doing my search. Was here it is at 3:24 in the morning on stereo head core 2. Here it is on a H1. Now, H1 is to the side. This is what, and now if you look at that image, can you, to the right of the image, notice how there is what looks to be a movement path. Now there it is on stereo ahead, Now, that is not actually dead center. That's what makes me believe that it is actually a different star going past. Now, basically, and it is actually behind the other star, so that means that's a bloody big star. That's a little star in front of it. That's a star. Or if it's an expansion, it means we're in deep shit. But the thing is, it's sort of you're going to have to make up your own minds, folks. I'm still bewildered about what I'm actually seeing here. So again, here it is on stereo heat core 2 at 324, and the appears at H21 at 329. So make up your own images, your mind about the images, folks. This is Anthony Avery once again signing off with the truth, and for God's sake, make this video viral. This video needs to go viral. Ciao.